What's up, everybody? We're back.
You gotta get...
Everybody, we're back. G.
We're here for number 11.
You didn't say your name.
I forgot it.
What's up, everybody? We're back. Episode 11. I'm G.
I'm Dom. And I have no idea what I'm supposed to say right now. But tonight, we've got a really funny guest. It's actor and comedian Jeff Sharkey. And he's going to make us laugh. Which isn't too hard to do, but I can't wait.
Not really. We'll be back.
The G and Dom Show.
That was good.
Come on, anybody out there? Something you don't want to see when you're at the beach.
Jeff Sharkey.
Jeff Sharkey and a dead body. I think they kind of go together.
Jeff, you want to take that one?
Yes. Diaper changes? Really? Seriously? That's why I bought a changing road.
Yo, number 11. How cool is this?
Awesome.
We got my good friend here, Jeff Sharkey.
I just met him.
Me and Sharkey, we do improv together. Mm-hmm. We just came from rehearsal, actually.
Yeah.
What'd you think of rehearsal?
I think it went well. It was productive. We learned some of our basics we needed to go over, and we did that with scene building, which I think will make us even better. You know, because we're already funny. Theoretically.
That comes with the, no?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think by working on our basics, it's going to make us better. Because just from basic scene building, the funny will just fall into place without having to try to force it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Shark.
Let's see, I've been performing for almost 20 years. Started doing theater up in Atlantic County where I was living. Mm-hmm. Loved it. One thing led to another, and I met somebody from college who was doing stuff in Cape May, and he invited me down to do these Sherlock Holmes weekends with him. And what I liked about the dinner theater was you can work with the crowd.
Oh, okay.
Because you're right there at the live audience at dinner theater. You're literally performing in the space where they're eating and dining and such. You know what I mean?
Check out what they eat.
Yeah. You can make fun of that, and just you could break character and just start talking to an audience member, bring them in.
Yeah.
And like I was
Include
playing,
them in there,
I was playing like this big drinking guy, and I said, oh yeah, this guy right here, we were out drinking the other night, and then people start laughing at him because as soon as you acknowledge them, they're gonna laugh at it because they're a friend. Mm-hmm. So I like working the crowd, and that brought out some comedic skills that I had.
Can I ask you one thing? So you're at the dinner theater. Did you ever get to eat somebody's dinner? Did anybody ever offer you
Ever
their dinner?
feed you? Anybody ever like cut a piece of steak and like?
No.
That probably wouldn't be sanitary.
Yeah, probably get fired for that. Yeah.
No, I'd wait till they got up and went to the bathroom. No.
Leftovers?
You told the busser like.
You know what would be weird though is sometimes you had a timer. We'd wait till dessert and then start the show.
Okay.
Because when they're sitting there eating and they're hungry, like older
They don't
people,
pay attention.
they don't give a shit what's going
Yeah.
on. You know, they're not going to pay attention. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then all you hear is clanging of silverware on cutlery, you hear that. You hear that, and you're trying to do a scene over it.
to pee.
Like my steak's not done.
Right. Right, they'll start complaining about their food.
Yeah. I should have married Jerry instead.
And they're not paying attention to what's going on with the actors and the actresses. So they said, all right, let's wait till dessert comes out, then we'll start it. It'll be a little quieter then, you know. Because then you'd have servers walking in front of you and stuff like that, and that was also another distraction. And it's not a sound stage, so they're not hearing you as it is.
Yeah.
Can we burp on this, buddy?
Do we?
Oh yeah, I do all the time. I'll just clip it out anyway. Is that the?
That's one of the best parts of your act.
Is that the sponge? Is that the sponge? The
sponge kicking in.
Did it? You know, I think I might have told you this before, but the first time we didn't meet, but the first time I ever saw you in action was at the dinner theater, and you were doing Young Dracula.
All right.
You were in Young Dracula.
I won't mention the place where it was. But
Yeah.
It
was great. I had a great time though. I love that like B comedy stuff, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean, you pack it with some corny jokes, but the nice thing about that is that if you have something funnier than what's in the script, you're doing it. And quite frequently, I would have something funnier than what is in the script. You still do the script,
Sure,
and you go back to it because you got to push the story along. But if you can bring the people into it, like we talk about audience participation, they love that stuff. Like, you see a guy with a bald head. Well, you make fun of his bald head, and then you go back to your script. You know, and like if it's a group of people, groups like to laugh together.
Yeah.
And that's big in
absolutely.
One
comedy.
laughs, you know.
Right, they like to laugh together. So if you make fun of one person in the group, they're all going to start laughing because, oh, he made fun of Joe. You know, and they love that stuff.
Who doesn't love busting each other's stones? Though?
Right,
Seriously?
right. And,
Picking on
then,
Joe.
and I get paid to do it. You know,
Yeah,
I just do it for free, but to get paid to do it's even great. But I like doing that improv with audience members while you're doing a play.
I feel like that's like the biggest thing right now. If you check out all the comedians right now, they're doing like smaller venues and just like doing people.
Crowd work.
Yeah, crowd work.
Crowd work, yeah.
And it's dope. It's funny. Sometimes it's hilarious. More hilarious than their stand-up.
Yeah,
Because you.
it's impromptu.
The,
It's on top
the
of your head.
uncertainty and just normal answers are funnier a lot of times than a lot of just written stuff. Like, you know, simpler is better a lot of times, you know. So, especially like you said, when you're out there with maybe your mom or like your cousin or something who's usually shy,
Yeah.
and then he picks
You
on
bring
them,
them out.
and they're like, they say something over the top, and everyone just starts laughing. It's a great feeling. So,
Right.
oh yeah.
And sometimes the audience will say stuff that's so funny and over the top and unexpected.
Right.
If they're not, even if they're not trying to be funny, you're like,
You're like,
where did that come from?
Yeah.
You just served me like a good joke. You know?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And a good comedian be able to flip that into a joke right away.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Or even just normal answers, you know what I mean? But you notice comedians, and we talk about this at rehearsal, if you're going to interview the audience member for a bit, keep asking questions, keep probing until they say something funny.
Right.
Then you go with it, you know?
Okay.
You're trapping them in essence.
And basically,
but you're not.
Find,
You're,
like you're like the not the line. You know, I know what you
Right, but the comedians will say like, "Hey, how are you?" And then if they're with somebody, is that your girlfriend or your wife, or what you drinking? You know, and then they can make fun of it. They have to get
Oh,
something
just a drink,
to,
yeah.
to go off of and to work off of, improv off of.
what got you into acting in the first place? Like, how did you get bit by the bug? Like, did you wake up and like, hey, I'm going to just act now?
Well, my mother was an actress.
Oh, okay.
And a trained singer. She was a good singer. She was a Maria in Sound of Music, and that's a big part. You know,
Oh, wow.
You have to have the chops to pull off that
pull off
role.
the-
Yeah.
It's one of the prime big musical roles in musical theater.
Yeah.
So I remember I was 7 or 8. I remember she would rehearse. I'd be walking home from school, and I turned the corner to our house, and I could hear her rehearsing out the window. And the original Broadway record was Mary Martin, not Julie Andrews was in the movie, but Mary Martin, Larry Hagman's mother, by the way. Little trivia for you. Yeah, Larry Hagman's mother, Mary Martin, was the original Broadway one, and she had the same voice range. I think she was a contralto, I think was the term. She could sing word for word with that record.
Oh wow.
And hit the notes that the singer was on the record. She could stay right with him. She was that good.
That is word of the day right here. How do you say it?
Contralto.
Contralto.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up. That's
Type
pretty
of
cool.
singer.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of it.
Yeah. So I watched her do it, but as kids we didn't like it because it wasn't cool. You know, you're a kid, that's
Yeah.
not cool. You know, like
Yeah.
musicals. You know, it wasn't masculine if you're a boy. You know what I mean? And by the late '60s and '70s, musicals weren't that popular. They're kind of falling out of fashion, especially with baby boomers or whatnot. I mean, they were still doing musicals, but they weren't big as they once were.
Yes, they weren't.
Because Broadway musicals used to be on the radio. They were top 40
Really?
songs back in the day. Yeah.
That's
And then
cool.
you know, '60s social change and the baby boomers came along, and musicals weren't that big because there's not a whole lot of them from that era. There may be like Godspell, Jesus Christ Superstar, but after that, name musicals after that. Not till Rent in the '80s was the next musical that came. That was in
That
the
was
popular
big.
mainstream. You know.
I was going to say, if you go now, though, like, there's a lot of good musicals now. Like, look at Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then, like, my daughter loves the Beetlejuice musical. I don't know if you ever heard that, but the soundtrack on
Well,
that thing
your
is killer.
daughter, like '90s kids on Nickelodeon, Disney Plus,
Yeah.
brought back the musical
Yes.
to a younger generation. Like skipped us baby boomers, and the younger generation are into musicals now because
Yeah,
they
they
watch
are.
that
They
as
love
kids.
it. My daughter
Frozen, like
loves-
every little kid knows Frozen, and
I
that
love
kind of
that.
brought it back. And that really was a boon to Broadway.
Oh, Frozen. Oh, yeah. Every little kid loves
Right,
that. freaking
right,
song.
and kids watching that stuff. Hopefully, those kids will start coming out to the theater.
My daughter loves Hamilton.
Oh,
Both
what?
of them, they like go watch it like nonstop all the
Yeah.
time.
And your daughter does theater, too. She just did Guys and
that
Dolls.
Guys and Dolls. She's like a backup dancer on it, but she loves it. She loves just being on stage.
And it's great to have a generation brought up to appreciate that stuff.
And that's what we had the conversation. Remember last time I was telling you that I see more guys doing it, and like you said, like back in the day, I don't think it like
Wasn't cool. It wasn't cool, you know.
Yeah, like if you're doing a play, you're like, oh, what is he doing, you know? But like now, like there's a lot of boys doing it, and it's pretty dope.
Well, the boys are going to go because all the girls are doing it, so that's the boys are going to follow.
That's their
the
pickup
girls.
line?
Yeah, the boys are going to follow. There's all the girls are in the theater. That's a lot of guys got started in theater. They were athletes. They're wait a minute, all the girls are in theater. I'm changing my major to theater, you know, because that's what all the girls were, you know. It's the
I don't
plus.
like football anymore.
Right. Like, why get my head beat out in football when I can go?
Well, I can sing over here.
You think you're cool? Check out my pirouette. But
That's cool though, man.
so family.
So
got
yeah,
you
so
into
mothers
acting.
did, and then I was a class clown in school. You know,
I can't imagine that.
yeah, I was neglected at home, so I had to get attention somewhere.
Somewhere is cool.
So I would goof off at school. Like one of my first things, I got a laugh in kindergarten. In kindergarten, the teacher brought in like old clothes for the kids to put on and play just to play. Yeah, like and she brought this big dress. And this kid named Dougie Taylor, I remember this day, he was a class clown too. He puts on a big dress, and we're laughing. And all of a sudden, I crawled up behind him and got under his dress on his butt, and it looked like he had a big ass.
I've seen
And
that before.
it was one of the first times I remember.
He's been doing it for his whole life.
I just brought it back recently, which we'll get into. But I got one of my
You already
first
got
big
into
laughs. I got one of my first
Yeah.
big laughs in school.
That's cool.
From doing like a sight gag, or like a physical. And then one time, in fourth grade, we were doing history or something like that, and the name of the town was New Amsterdam. And I wasn't into it, and I wasn't paying attention. The teacher corrected me, and I said, well, you know what? I don't care where New Amsterdam is. And then I got kicked out of class, had to go to the principal. So I was like working blue at an early age, So it was like, and I liked it. Then I had started getting a reputation, Just like,
The Amsterdam guys here.
Damn. Easier.
yeah. So I was like, then sixth grade, Mr. Jefferson's class, I got voted class clown. Yeah, there wasn't a big class, but I think, I carried the female vote. I think that got me.
The female vote got you through.
I beat out Danny. I won't say his last name, but I beat out Danny. He was kind of funny.
Kinda.
Not
Class clown worthy.
He's not Amsterdam.
Right. I remember this kid Danny. He was the class president. He was a knucklehead, but he had to play student government. They made him. What we'd have is we had a question jar, and then the class president would get the question jar and read off the questions that the class was gonna talk about, like should we get
topic
more,
or something?
like more candy at lunchtime? Should we get bigger milk? So he pulls out a question,
Should we get bigger
and the
milk?
teacher's name was Mr. Jefferson, and he reads the question and he says. The question was, or the statement was, I think Mr. Jefferson should take off his toupee. And it fucking killed, man.
Was that you?
I didn't write it. I wish I had. One of the girls wrote it,
Damn.
man.
Did she
And
get class clown with you too, or no?
No, she's just being snippy, man.
Did you really wear a toupee?
Yeah,
Oh,
he did.
man.
I didn't realize till then.
Till that.
But the girls picked up on it because girls are a little head,
You don't get a lot of toupee action these days.
Nah, not
Well, now all the baldness remedies.
Yeah, well,
I feel like being bald is cool now.
Yeah, bald's all right.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time I saw a guy with a bad piece, but when you see it,
It fell out of
it's
favor.
like
Still noticeable.
It is noticeable
Yeah.
though when they come walking through.
Well, now
They usually have like a cigar. No, it's real,
Okay.
and it's magnificent. But
Man, brand.
so my grandfather died with a full head of hair, so I'm hoping that
Yeah, you're
I'm
lucky.
thinning a little, but I'm there still. I'm still there.
Lucky.
But if I do go bald, I'm toupeeing it.
You toupee?
I'm gonna have a toupee.
I'm rocking the bald head.
I'm gonna have a toupee.
I'm leaving my beard like.
And I'm gonna have it.
Yeah, you got a good
I want my
beard. Yeah.
toupee to be like on the side a little bit, and I'll just have a cigar in my mouth and just walking around.
He comes in with dreads.
Dom with dreads extensions.
Yeah.
We'll see you walking through the villas on the sidewalk with dreads and in a bloody hospital gown.
And a
with an
black and
iguana.
white.
With
Why am I in
an
a bloody hospital? What is going
with an
what
iguana on
happened
his
to me?
shoulder.
What
The fucking
damage?
iguana.
What damage has been done to me at this point in my life?
That's something you would see driving through the villas, though, right?
Oh damn, bloody gown.
Hey, there's some nice parts of the villas. There's
Yeah,
kind of
there
an
is.
east-west. There's some nice parts of
Yeah.
the villas, but you do see some freaky stuff.
I mean, I
Walk
guess
on the sidewalk with
did I trade my kidney for a bad dreadlock toupee? Is that
And a black and mild.
trying to think what could have happened to me.
I
You're a
was-
class clown.
I didn't do any acting in high school, because that wasn't cool to be part of like the theater thing,
Yeah, like he was saying.
So when I got to college, I took an acting class, and I'm like, oh, this is fucking great. I like this. And I got cast right away. The first thing I went out for was Eugene in Greece.
Okay.
Because I couldn't sing, so I couldn't be one of the, what are they called, the Thunderbirds? I could be one of the
Yeah.
Thunderbirds.
Oh yeah, what was that? What Danny Zuko
Danny-
was?
Yeah, Danny Zuko.
Oh, Eugene was the nerd.
Yeah, Eugene was the nerd. I couldn't
Eugene
sing.
wasn't the cool guy.
But to my credit,
Yeah, he was cool.
Eddie Deazen's the guy's name who played him.
That's right. 'Cause we were just talking. We were just talking
Yeah,
about it.
he's quintessential
I was
nerd.
going to reach out to him on Facebook because a guy I went to college and reached out to him. It was the 40th anniversary. We did Grease at Stockton University. a few years
Okay.
ago.
Oh, wow.
And but I got a standing ovation at my audition.
Okay. As Eddie Deazen?
Yep.
Or as the
Yeah.
Eugene?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Do you remember a line from the movie?
Yeah. I know. I just
I love
remember
Grease.
dancing with Cha Cha Di Gregorio.
Were you in the music numbers? Like, did they have music
part of the
numbers?
Yeah, oh yeah, they sang, but like chorus, just background. And,
Okay.
I didn't. Like I said, I'm not a singer, so I didn't have any.
Did
singing
they do
parts.
the dance, the high school dance part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually pretty cool. I wish we didn't have any film of it. I wish we did. We have pictures from it. We don't have any film of it. So I did that, and then I was going to be a theater major, and it's like, well, you can't make a living as a theater major. And then there were some problems with the theater department. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do this for a living. I'm going to change my major to something. I'll change my major to something else. Didn't do any acting for like 20 years, and then I changed careers. And a friend of mine, she was doing a local theater up in Atlantic County, and I went out to something, and then I found a book. I got to mention this. I found a book. I hit it 40. I hit it like a midlife crisis. Hated my job. I was working at casinos. Hated it. You know, like, this sucks. And so I was like, you know, I always wanted to be an artist. So this lady said, you should check out this book called The Artist's Way. And it's a book to kind of recover your artistic and creative side. It's like a workbook, almost like a self-help book.
The Artist's Way?
Yeah, by Julia Cameron. Really good. Yeah, really good book. And I started doing that, and that's right. I was always doing secret writing, like writing in a notebook, creative writing and stuff like that. I could not do that.
Right.
But I never did anything with it, tried to get it published. I'd read it the next day, I'm like, oh, this sucks. I'm like, hide it and destroy it.
Well, it's a great brain exercise.
It is.
Like, even if...
Yeah, because then I started playing guitar around that time, too.
Okay, cool.
And then I got to change careers, so that I had nights and weekends off, and I started going. That's right. Even before that, I started going to poetry open mics in Ocean City, and I read some of my stuff, and then I would read other people's stuff, like really good poets, and then I would act it out, and people would say, "Oh, you got some acting chops." I'm like, "Yeah, I used to act in college, and I kind of miss it. I'd like to get back into it." So I was doing poetry open mics, changed careers, and then that gave me nights and weekends off, and I started doing local theater, and one thing led to another. Yeah, got a couple TV appearances.
What shows?
I wanted to ask you about that. Yeah, can you walk us through what it's like to be on a TV
Yeah,
set?
I got on a website called Backstage.com, and you load up your videos of yourself. That's what they're really going to hire you for. And casting people go through there and say, oh, this guy looks like somebody we might need. And they'll look at it to see, oh, he's got some chops, let's bring him in for an audition.
Yeah.
Most of the time you pick stuff that you want to audition for, like, oh, here's something, you submit for that. And I got a few gigs out of that, the Investigation Discovery Channel, those true crime reenactment series. I did a couple of those. The one I got and I was featured in was, I didn't select, they saw me. This guy, true story, this guy was a serial killer truck driver out in the West Coast somewhere. Okay. And what he did was he bought an abandoned, decommissioned missile silo. So I guess when the government's done, they change their weapons to something better. They get rid of the old. So it was an old missile silo. Well, private citizens can buy old missile silos off the government.
Damn.
Missile silos are like an underground lair.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're a doomsday prepper, you're
Right,
like
yeah,
all in.
Yeah. Go buy it.
The place was big enough. This guy was a truck driver. He was stealing trucks, taking in and selling parts and selling materials. That he could drive the truck right into where he lived.
Wow, that's
So
nuts.
he was murdering people too.
Oh, cool.
And so they finally caught, the way they caught him was the DOT did a surprise inspection. They came to his place one day and they wanted for taxes and stuff like to see if they had to keep all kinds of records, truck drivers.
Legally doing it.
And he panicked and brought the guy inside. I think he shot him and then he started dismembering his body. Like he cut off a leg and he cut off an arm, but he didn't finish doing it and he threw the parts in his car and drove down the road, threw it out the window as he was driving, like didn't even bury the body parts, threw it out the window, drove down further, threw another part out the window, and that's when they finally caught up to him. And they were gone to him because they traced him. So I looked like this guy. So it was
Oh my God!
So
You gotta put a picture of the guy and him.
yeah. Ralph Benson was his name.
Really
Man.
Ralph Benson, true story, serial killer truck driver, and then they had linked a bunch of unsolved ones to him, but he died in prison of cancer after 2 years. So they really get around. And if you in the police world, if you don't have a body, it's tough to put a murder on somebody.
Yeah.
You have to have a body, or of course, otherwise it's nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So they had him targeted for a bunch of unsolved ones. But it was cool because I got to be on TV, and they filmed me from the back. I was hacking apart the other actor's leg. I had like a bandsaw. One of the saws was shaped like this, and I'm hacking apart his leg and shit. It was kind of fun, man. It was a good gig. That was fun.
We gotta find this episode.
What was it? What is it again?
True Crime with Aphrodite Jones, episode 602, Road to Nowhere.
Oh,
Wow.
fine.
Ralph
So,
Benson,
yeah,
serial
fine.
killer truck driver.
You know that story? I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Cloverfield Lane. It's like Cloverfield Lane. It almost sounds similar to
remember
that.
how.
John Goodman plays a truck driver.
Yeah,
he
good
knocks
actor.
he knocks into this girl. He brings her back to the house. He lives like in a missile silo.
Yeah.
And it's him, her, and another guy, and he ends up killing the guy, dismembers him, and dumps
Yeah,
him in like acid.
maybe
So
the
I wonder
writers
if
got
it's-
that idea from that.
Yeah.
Because it sounds pretty close to how this guy operates.
Yeah, that's
His
insane.
MO.
It's insane to think that actually happens out there.
Yeah.
So.
It's probably happening as we speak. Right?
So,
Yeah.
having you on, I thought we'd have a little bit more comedy.
You never
I guess you had some dark humor
but
in there.
that's how
You
our
just
podcast
never
works.
know, man.
Off topic,
You just never know.
So who's your favorite comedian?
Well, growing up, the Biggies were George Carlin. I think was the #1 favorite.
Oh, yeah.
There's a really good current crop out there.
Hold on. Time out.
Bring that up. Yeah, let's bring that up.
We got the picture. We got the picture. Here it
You only
is.
got 32 years for all that.
God damn.
I don't have my glasses on, but that's what came up.
He looks Mexican though.
No, that's not the guy.
That's not the guy.
Benson.
Yeah, but that's not it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really look that much
No.
like
It first came up with long haul.
No, it's
What's his name?
Ralph Benson.
Benson.
Yeah. So
Not this guy.
that's him.
That's
Oh, is that
That's
him?
him? Yeah. Think that I looked enough like the guy. Yeah, that's him. I looked at, and when they're interviewing the guy, he's like giggling and said like, I made
Just like
that.
you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I
There you
didn't
go.
apply for it. They
Everybody's
saw
got a
me.
look-alike.
But when they sent me the email, I saw the NBC logo underneath. I'm like, oh
You're like,
shit, I'm in. I got to do this. I got to do it. And my day job, they're like, nobody leave this week. We're shorthanded. I'm like, look, man,
I'm out.
I'm leaving. You guys cover for me. You know, the manager was away, so I'm like, F it, I'm
where
going.
was this recorded at?
North Jersey. We were at the Art Factory in Patterson, and then Patterson's kind of a rough city. The Art Factory, you have to go in, they have the fences with the barbed wire over it, so you park your car in there. And then the third day, we were in downtown Yonkers at night in a parking lot, and it was really cool because they had a scene where they're taking me, putting me in a police car, and the boom guy rips his headphones off. He's like, "What the hell is that?" He looks across the street. It's dark there. This lady yelled. Some guy had her by the throat, and it looked like he was robbing her. Like I think she was foreign. She couldn't speak English. And the boom guy picked it up. His boom, he heard her like squeal, like like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What the hell?" The boom guy tore off his thing, dropped the mic, and he started walking over. And so yelling at the guy, like, "Leave her alone!" And we all walked over, and the guy ran off. And the lady walked towards us, and she was like, had groceries or stuff like that. And I don't know, she was foreign. She didn't speak
Saved her
English.
life.
Yeah, the boom guy, the sound guy, maybe stopped like a mugging.
Yeah.
He was probably like a druggie,
Wow.
trying
Yeah,
to like
probably. Yeah.
get money
It could've
off or
ended up
something
worse.
like
It
that.
could've
So
ended
we were filming a crime show,
Good.
and the sound
He
guy
solved the
probably
crime.
yeah, the sound guy probably
Yeah.
stopped the crime. It was really weird. We're like, and then we're laughing.
Yeah,
like,
there's an
all right,
episode about that guy. The boom guy.
Yeah, the boom guy
Yeah,
needs an
yeah.
episode.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man.
That's dope. That's
Yeah, it was wild. We're like, all right, let's finish. Let's get the hell out. It's nighttime. We're there all day.
So, 3 in the morning. Let's not get shot up here.
Yeah, right. That was a fun gig.
That's dope. What other?
So I did that. I do theater in Cape May. Doing something up in Lanning County now. I'm in Much Ado About Nothing at the Gateway Theater, April 19th, 21st to 2024. Tickets are available. Gateway Theater, www.gatewaybythebay.org.
I'll put it right here.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yep, and that's coming up in a couple weeks, and along with our improv troupe, which is doing well. We're really excited about that. We just came from rehearsal. We've been having sellouts our last couple of shows, and I think we're getting better as we're going along, because not all of us train. Paul has training, and Daniel has a little training. We just added Christine, who has training. The rest of us didn't have training.
You know.
Not at all. I mean,
Got no training in anything.
and yet he gets by. How do you get by?
It's my good looks.
Yeah, I guess your charm and your bullshit.
It's a nice haircut. It's a nice
And a
haircut.
nice haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So a couple of us have training, but the rest of us, some of us have done a little bit of stand-up, so we're kind of funny anyway.
Yeah.
So so we're learning, we're getting better as we're going along to put out, I think, a better and better product. You know?
That's the goal. It's always to get better. Always,
Yeah.
because what we all look at as a group, and that's with anything I do or anything you do, is somebody's paying money to come see you, so you want to deliver to them a
Right.
good and enjoyable
Exactly.
experience. That's the most important.
Otherwise,
thing.
they're not going to come back.
They're not going to come back, and then you don't get to do your craft anymore.
They're gonna be like, those guys.
Oh, some will anyway.
Right. It comes to territory. But
Well,
hey,
I'm
you can't
glad-
argue with a full house. You can't argue with a sellout.
I can't. I'm glad to hear though you're doing the Shakespeare because I thought maybe you were the president of a mustache club. You were the president of.
Well, yeah, the mustache is for, it's a real mustache.
Yeah.
You want to pull on it? Don't touch me. Yeah, no, this is for, I play Don Pedro in Much Ado About Nothing. It's one of Shakespeare's romantic comedies. We got a good cast, we got some funny people in there. So it's going to have some humor and some drama in it. So, yeah, I never did Shakespeare before. Shakespeare's hard to do because it's almost like a foreign language. You got to speak, you got to reframe the sentence in your head.
Okay.
Like, you know how we talk, all right, the statue of the lion is on the table and sitting proudly. So Shakespeare, you reverse, say, the proud lion is sitting upon the table. Like, you have to reverse your adjectives, your nouns, your verbs, or put the verb at the end of the
So it
sentence.
sounds more
Yeah,
Shakespeare-y.
right, because it has to follow iambic pentameter,
Yeah.
which is certain meter and rhythm, and he writes that way. And once you get the language down, you have to kind of talk in that kind of rhythm to it. But it sounds natural enough. Matter of fact, Shakespeare's better performed than read because it's meant to be performed because you're following that rhythm. It sounds better to the ear, you know.
So when you go see them, now you'll know that, and you'll follow along with the rhythm.
Yeah.
So I was talking to G. G's never performed on a stage before,
Never.
and I said to him, I said, my goal is to get him to do either like a little stand-up or some improv.
Him
or
just
something.
saying it gets me all nervous.
We should come out to the improv show, man.
So my question to you is, what kind of advice could you give somebody that wants to try to
I
start doing
told
some
him that
stand-up?
if you give me a couple shots of tequila, oh fuck, I'm on. I'm on there. 10 minutes, I'm on there.
Take a class.
Take a class? Okay.
Take a class, get improv classes, acting. We have acting classes at, can we
Here?
say the name of the place?
What, and the
Yeah,
road
they're
theater?
there.
Oh yeah, I know. I talk about it all the
Yeah,
time.
there's acting classes you can take
Oh, I
there.
didn't know that.
Yeah, there's improv classes around, and that gives you a little bit of confidence, you know, just to go up because you know some things already.
Yeah.
You just got to get up. You got to do it. That's
You gotta
that's
do
the
it.
bottom
That's the
line,
biggest
right? I mean, when you agree, Shark,
Yeah.
you got to do it. If you're not doing it, you're never going to get better at it.
Do you get nervous at all anymore?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
But it's good to
good.
feel
Yeah, it's
nervous
good. You have to
though,
be a
yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
There's good nervous. There's
Yeah.
I get like jumpy, like I'm just ready to go.
About 5 or
Yeah.
10 minutes before you go on. You're
Yeah.
like, all right, there's no turning back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
get a little
I
more
feel
nervous
like that's-
stand-up.
I feel like
Stand-up
that's
comedy
the-
is more nerve-wracking than acting.
I feel like that's the couple minutes that would turn me down. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I can't do it. I can't breathe. You know?
You're facing the abyss.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
There's no
yeah.
turning back.
Yeah, I don't know what's
There's
coming.
an audience
but
here.
like, I feel like if I did one and then like I would feel the crowd and then like I feel like that would get my confidence up.
Yeah, if you got
and
your
then,
first
and
laugh.
then I'll be like, all right, that's cool, you know. And then like you say, you learn every time you do it. You learn. Yeah, so I'm gonna do it. Has anybody ever told you look like Paul Giamatti? What's his name?
Paul Giamatti?
Paul Giamatti.
Uh,
Has anybody ever told you you look like a truck driver killer?
Yeah.
He's actually in an episode of that.
Yeah. I had my coworkers watch that. They were nice to me after that show.
After that, they're like, we learned a couple
They
things.
watched themselves around me. They didn't mess with me, man.
Me and Sharky, we've become really good friends, but I have one problem with you.
But
You're a Giants fan.
Ooh.
yes,
That's, that hurts.
lifelong.
Lifelong.
Yep, the team with 4 Super Bowls,
Yeah.
4-1, baby. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You
The
see the
lucky
jersey
helmet,
over there?
he had duct tape on that helmet or something.
You see the jersey over there?
He's got his Kelsey jersey.
Nice. I do admire him. I do admire him.
So
He's
what do
a
you
cool
feel?
player.
How do you feel about Barkley leaving the Giants for the Eagles? Does that hurt you as a
Yeah,
Giants fan?
a little bit, because you think he would have been a lifer and a good character guy in the locker room, good guy. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
throwing around, good guy. But like all running backs, it could be tomorrow, be the last day.
Yeah.
And sadly, I remember back in the day, running backs were like the studs on the team,
Yeah.
but the game has changed so much that running backs are
Disposable.
disposable, because then when you get another one, and now it's a passing league. It's too much of a passing league. I think the NFL product has been watered down. First of all, there's too many teams, and the rules, especially the
They're
pass
getting every year
the
they're
pass
getting-
interference rules, like in the grass kind of rules. By making it too safe, they're taking away the product.
I missed the push out rule. Like when a guy's going to the sideline, he catches the ball, and another guy pushes him out. I think that should count as a catch.
Yeah,
you remember
that,
that?
and like the cogs, 1 foot, the receiver's just
Yeah, or
1
1
foot.
foot, yeah.
Tip of the toe.
I
To
think that would
make
make
an
the
amazing
game so
catch
much
like
more
that, you
exciting.
want to see to get that,
And it would take a lot of the pass interference and stuff away.
Away.
Like I think, I
Yeah.
wish they could go back to that. So, are you a all around New York teams, or are you a Phillies
Yeah, 'cause
fan?
I grew up in North Jersey, so it's pretty much all New York.
So, are you
teams.
Mets or Yankees?
Started out as a Yankees fan because
Right.
all the older males in my family were Yankees fans. But
Okay.
then when I was a teenager, I rebelled and I switched over to the Mets. And back then, you could root for both teams
Okay.
because they were different. Like Jets
Sure.
and Giants fans, you could root for both because they were
Right.
different conferences and different leagues. So that was acceptable back then. And like everything else now, it's polarized now. Now you can't do that up that way.
Is there dinner table arguments about it?
Right? Like you can't.
Follow.
You and Mr. Met, get your ass out of here.
But I did root for the Phillies in 08 and 09 against the Yankees.
Okay. Oh, so, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to see them beat the Yankees.
So you have turned total Mets then.
Yeah, I'm still
Well,
Mets.
see, that's difficult though. because
But I
the
do
Mets
like
fan-
it when the Philly teams are competitive because it makes the season more interesting.
Yeah.
My dream is to see the Phillies and Mets in a playoff series. How much fun would that be?
Oh, yeah,
Especially
great.
down here. That'd be a lot of fun. Huge ratings. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, a lot of
And
trash
even like for
talk.
the economy, it's good when there's a big game on. What are people doing? They're coming out, they're ordering
So,
food.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're ordering food, they're taking
Oh,
it
yeah,
out, they're
yeah.
having parties. You know what I mean? That's why it's always good for the economy when the area regional teams are good and competitive.
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
it
I totally agree
It's
with
good
that.
for morale,
Everywhere.
takes people's minds off their problems and stuff like that. You know.
Like, you go in, you go into a grocery store and the chip aisle's completely empty because there's a good game going on.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
So,
you see the patterns. Yeah.
yeah. So it's a huge.
But yeah, I
difference.
love sports. Just to get, I know it's baseball season started, and just to get in the mood. For some reason, I was watching the documentaries on the Red Sox, and like 03, and 04 when they were losing, and then 03 was a really bad loss to the Yankees at the Aaron Boone home
Right.
in Game 7. And then they were just devastated once again. Then 04, everything changed. And it was so cool because after those Red Sox fans won the World Series, they didn't know what to say. They had these guys on camera, actors, celebrities, and they were so
Yeah.
moved by it. They didn't have words to
What?
describe because they'd never been there before.
Right.
They couldn't describe something they'd never felt before. Because especially the older Red Sox fans, they grew up that devastation of like,
Losing.
yeah, you get your hopes up only to get let down. You get your hopes up only to get down. And now finally, they didn't have that, and they were like, like Stephen Wright, this other guy, Michael Mount, they were like stunned. They didn't know what to express when that happened. And I, of course, living down in South Jersey, now most of my friends are Eagles fans. And when the Eagles beat the Patriots, suck it, Boston! I got behind the TV at my friend's house, and I filmed my friends watching the Eagles win their first Super Bowl.
Oh, that's cool.
The guys were in tears. More
yeah.
guys were crying than the women.
Oh yeah.
And this guy was with his daughter, and they're hanging on each other. It was so cool. It was one of the best pieces of films I ever made.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent it to all of them. I said, "You guys got to save this, man, because they're crying." And like same thing, he didn't have words. This guy Ray, he's like he didn't know what to say because he never experienced that before. It was like a beautiful moment to see sports fans go
I
through.
ran around the parking lot.
Did
We
you?
were watching it at my brother's house. I ran around a couple times yelling like this.
Well, and because even first of all, you have Brady coming up, so you
Yeah.
know he can always find a way to beat you.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. That
Yeah,
when,
you
when,
beat
at
the
the end of that
underdogs,
game,
beat the
at
And
the end of that game,
And I had a
it's just
good
the
buddy.
feeling
He was at that
crazy.
party, and he left with 5 minutes to go.
Wow.
He's like, we gotta go. We gotta take off. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Where you going?
Yeah.
I don't want to get caught in the traffic. We're leaving. We're taking off. And he left.
Yeah.
And after that, I'm like, for years, I was like,
missed
why
it.
did you do that? He goes, Jeff, I couldn't stay and be let down again in front
Yeah.
of people because he would have been so upset.
Oh, they were threatening at the end of that game.
Yeah. He couldn't handle emotionally being let down because he probably would have like burst into tears in front of people. Just get so upset, like oh man,
I waited for this.
right. He couldn't handle being around anybody, so he had to leave the party in case the Eagles lost that game.
Yeah.
Which is really that tells you about human
Yeah,
nature.
but he knows himself, so that's that's good on him.
Because years later, I asked him, I said, how come you left that Eagles game, man? I'm like, you're talking about traffic. It's February in South Jersey. There's no traffic.
No traffic at
But
all.
he didn't want to say
Yeah.
that he couldn't handle it
Couldn't handle it.
emotionally
Right,
if they
if
lost
they
that
lost.
game. And I get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I was really happy for all my Eagles fans, but I don't want the Eagles winning any more Super Bowls. You guys got your one. That's enough. That's all you deserve. And I don't want you catching up to the Giants. So. One and done.
Watch us win this year with Barkley.
No, wouldn't that be wrong?
Oh, man, of all teams to go to, I wonder what kind of reception he's going to get.
He said he does.
They're gonna welcome him with open arms.
Yeah.
Penn State.
Oh,
guy.
yeah, in Philly, yeah.
Philly.
Yeah,
Oh, you
Philly,
mean
yeah.
at New York?
Yeah.
They'll probably just
And,
do
you
like,
know, and he's a really good receiver too.
It all depends on how.
He's an all around. He's an all around
Good guy. Yeah.
all around good player.
I think it all depends on how Daniel Jones plays. If Daniel Jones has like a really bad season,
You know
and
what?
Barkley shows up and just
I'm
steamrolls
a
those people,
Daniel Jones believer. They haven't had a good enough offensive line from him ever since he got there. And he's had a run for his life. He hasn't had time to throw. The one year they had a decent offensive line, 2 years ago, they actually had time for plays to develop, and that's why. But he had mediocre receivers.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but when he had a decent line, you could see what he could do. But his health and playing beyond, I read a great quote about, you know what, the New York Giants offensive line should be sued for manslaughter because they get their quarterbacks killed all the time. And that's what, they went through four quarterbacks.
I got to tell you, I was a little bit of a fan of Tommy Cutlets.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it was a nice
I mean, it
little
was a nice
thing.
little story
Yeah,
with
it was
the
nice.
agent and
Cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
thought
I was
that
at his
fun.
first game against the
Oh,
Jets
you were
last
there?
year. Yep.
Were you doing the thing where you're like, hey?
No, that didn't start yet.
The
It was-
Italian
yeah,
exclamation
Tyrod
point?
Taylor started the game, and he got knocked
Okay.
out because he landed on the ball and broke his rib.
Yeah.
He came in, and both offenses were terrible that day. But it was a close game. It was exciting because in overtime, the Jets won on a field goal. Raining the whole day. I had to take out a mortgage just to afford an NFL ticket.
For the Giants and Jets game.
Yeah, and when I bought the ticket in September, I'm like, oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones,
yeah.
both teams should be playoff bound this year. By the end of October, they were like sinking fast, man.
Dude, there's nothing worse than overpaying for something like that.
But I still had a good time. I haven't been to a game in like 20 something years.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I want to, and I like both teams, so I figure it's a win-win. Either way it turns out.
Who's your all-time favorite New York athlete? Like, could be Giants, Mets, whoever your favorite guy is. Girl.
I guess it used to be Keith Hernandez.
Okay.
I used to play first base.
Yeah, I
in
remember.
my softball leagues, and he was a good all-around player, smart.
Until he spit on Seinfeld.
Until he spit on Seinfeld. I was waiting for it. We got the audience here. So real quick, this is the first time we've ever done this podcast with an audience.
With an audience.
So you brought an audience with you, so we appreciate
Yeah,
that.
Yeah. Some guys from the improv troupe. Yeah.
So when's the improv going on?
It's April 13th. In fact, I was wondering if it would be okay if I got off camera and the other two guys come on, they could give you guys could give G a lesson on improv. What do you think about that?
Hell no! Don't put me on the
Yeah,
spot.
come
like
on,
that,
no,
bro.
let's do it. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
We'll give you a quick lesson.
I just got nervous.
I'm gonna take off. These guys are come up and do it.
Oh my
They're gonna
God.
teach you about improv.
Okay, got it. I got it. My name's Paul Costin. It's great to be here. I do some improv down here at the Enter Road Theater. And we've got a lot of players. We have a whole lot of fun with it. So when in improv, one of the most important things you do is you create a scene between two people, which we're going to do. And the interaction is always yes and.
Okay.
So if I say something, you don't shut it down. You build.
You don't
on it.
finish the.
No,
the-
it's
the-
not
basically.
like a one-line joke.
Like
You build that relationship,
okay.
and then when that relationship gets built, something usually happens,
Okay.
and then it might come down to resolution. You understand? So you don't shut it out.
Yeah.
As
You
a
just don't, like,
relationship,
finish
keep it going. You
Okay.
keep it going until one of us either bails, finds some way to exit, or somebody else comes in when one needs help to go through.
Keep going.
All right. So we are in South Jersey. I buy farms.
Okay.
You're a farmer. I come up to your house.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm a salesman. Basically, I buy a lot of properties down
Okay.
here. This is your property, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. This is my property.
Do you like this property?
I love this property. Yeah. I've had it all my life.
What do you like about it?
I like everything about it. I work here. I like all my animals. Everything.
What's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is probably the horses.
The horses.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like goats.
You like? Why do you like goats, don't they like poop all over the place and jump over fences and
No.
make sounds in the middle of the night?
They're funny, and they give you goat cheese, which is really good.
It is
and
good.
you get goat milk. Yeah, you get goat milk. I mean, I drink it right out of the udder.
Yeah,
And,
'cause-
and they got really weird eyes. They got like
They got
big
some
bug
big
eyes. Yeah, like humans.
And the poop pellets.
Yeah.
you know, you can use those pellets for like tomato plants and stuff like that. You put
Like
them
fertilizer.
in for fertilizer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free. You know, just invested into.
Yeah, yeah. So are you interested in selling your property?
I might be, but not really.
Oh, okay. Are you interested? Do you owe any money on this property?
I do not, but I do. I do.
You do. All right.
No.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If you owe money, you know, I might just get a lien against your property. You can take your goats. You can take your
I don't like.
horses.
I don't like the
you
goats.
can-
He likes the goats.
You look a little like a goat I have.
He does look like a goat.
I am a goat. This is just a mask.
I knew it.
I'm really a goat.
Yeah.
I'm an alpine goat. I jump on top of tables. I'm black and white. 'cause
Can you
the world
mountain
is
climb?
black.
Are you one of mountain climb goats?
I can do that. And
Yeah?
my best goat friend, his name is Billy.
Billy the goat.
Billy Willie.
Billy.
And that is an improv bit.
Oh man, I started sweating though.
But
Yeah.
the real key is not a yes
Not
or
a
no
yes
answer.
or no answer.
You
Just
got to
keep-
add
keep it
something
going,
on
keep it
to
going.
give me,
More like
you know, a
I'm-
storyline to improve.
yeah. So you're building a whole story, like
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
you
right.
build a story.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the audience appreciates just that. It doesn't have to be big laughs. It's like, oh, that's an interesting place they took that.
Yeah.
And they appreciate
And
that.
it can go anywhere.
Yeah.
It can go anywhere.
And they're fascinated by that.
I'm sorry. Particularly when you get audience involved. Because typically, you know, in improv, what you would want to do, you would want to ask the audience, give me a place, give me a time, and give me a relationship.
Okay.
So it could be, you know, it could be Philadelphia, for
They just
example.
set up the whole.
The relationship could be a dog and the dog owner,
Okay.
and the task is to climb City Hall. And this is one that we've done. So, as the two players, one has to be the dog,
And
one has to be the master.
Yeah.
And you build this scenario,
All the way.
like how we're going to do that,
Yeah.
and the characteristics of the dog, and also the owner. So when the audience gives you that, they are attentive.
Yeah.
They're laughing
They want to see
because
where it goes.
these guys were making something
Out of what we
out
came up
of
with.
told bull.
Yeah, because as stories is how we grew as a civilization, right?
Right, yeah.
Because before we had language in classrooms, cavemen sat around a campfire, started telling a story about something, like how to hunt,
Yeah.
and act it out, and that's your first teacher. Were telling stories. Your first preachers were telling stories, right? Your first religion, they were storytelling,
yeah.
and that's how you language. That's how you educated the young people
Yeah.
by telling stories, and that's where you got religion from, where you got philosophy
Yep.
from, where you got
Yep.
psychology from.
Yep.
Was from storytelling,
Yeah.
which is an ancient art form, and that's kind of what improv is. It's an ancient art form because
It
you're
just
making up
grew
a
in time
story,
with everything.
and that's how do kids learn? They learn through stories. These guys are songwriters. When you hear a good song, what do? You picture that song in your head, the texture of it, the feel, what the colors were, what the emotions were,
Yeah.
and people put that. That's why a good song, you feel it on all those levels because it's triggering you on all
yeah,
those
you
levels.
pick- you
you
pick
know?
Yeah, yeah. And improv is like that. Not just sitting here and just doing the verbal part of it, but improv gets really good when you start bringing emotion into it,
And you
and you start
feel
making
it.
body
Yeah, and that's
movement.
that's
into
something
it.
we need to work on more
Yeah.
as in our
Oh, so
truth
you
to
can
bring
add
emotion
the
to.
whole-
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and still stay within the character, and you can change characters. So what he just did about the goat, he came in and added to that interaction
Interaction, okay.
because he saw
Saw
that
that
guy
was going down.
Yeah, well,
Like
yeah,
that
stop,
down,
yeah,
yeah, you
it's
saw
when
that
it
was-
flattens out, it's
yeah.
when somebody else comes in.
I like that.
Speaking of someone else coming in,
Thank you.
hey, there's a segue, huh?
There is.
North Cape,
Thursday?
man. Saturday night, April 13th is our next show.
I'll be
Comedy improv, because there's
I'll be
serious improv too.
Yeah, this
There's
is
also
the-
comedy improv.
We play games like with the audience. You know, we get a lot of audience participation. We
Yeah.
bring people up on stage. Our favorite one, sound effects.
Yeah.
Like you know,
Went
we get
really
people
well
up-
last time.
Yeah, they
Explain to them what sound effects is.
So okay, so sound effects is this. So you bring two people up on stage. And then
Audience
you have
members.
Two audience members. You sure you don't want to explain it?
Well, I gotta fill in where you missed.
I know. Well, I miss a lot. I'm still gonna miss. It's about what you leave out. That's what we learned the other
That's
day.
right,
So we bring two audience members up on the stage, and they each get a microphone, and they stand on opposite sides. And there's two players on a thing. So let's just say you're the audience member, and you're gonna make the sound effect, right? And me and Sharky, we're up on stage. So I'll say, "Oh, Sharky, you know, my wife got me this chainsaw for Christmas, but I don't know if it really works well. Yeah, can you try it out for me?"
Yeah, man.
So this is where you're going to make the sound effect of a chainsaw when he's pulling.
That's right, exactly.
Well,
You know what?
this
Wait.
chainsaw's gargling.
Hey, can I say it? Let me see
Yeah,
the chainsaw.
you try it. It's not starting up.
I'm gonna try to pull this chainsaw really hard and see if it works.
All right.
You ready, audience member?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull this chainsaw really hard.
Froze. See, don't put me on stage.
I think there's something wrong with this chainsaw.
Well,
Anyway, so, all right.
I get the whole. Yeah, that's cool.
but whatever you do is funny.
yeah.
Even if it doesn't, it's totally wrong. Or if you made like
Yeah.
the lamest sound ever.
They'll be
Yeah.
like,
Like the
people,
first one
audience
sounded
are gonna be like,
yeah, the first one sounded like you were gargling.
How about this? How about this? Be like, oh no, Jeff, watch out! You might step on that cat. Meow.
Wow, that cat! I think that cat's on drugs.
I'm gonna be there.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
you gotta-
we
you
had
gotta-
a good
you gotta
time.
come out.
Come
I'll be
to
there.
one.
I'm gonna be there. So I can see it. So I can see it live.
I do have one. I really
Nice,
enjoyed-
comfortable seats too, man.
I did really enjoy the bit you guys just did though with Paul. I thought that was great. I mean, I didn't see him actually being a goat. That was a plot twist. But I want to know what was the two of your relation in that bit?
Us?
Yeah, were you
we were like-
co-farmers?
I didn't get there. I was gonna jump
Are
in.
you his
eventually.
farm man? Like what's going on here?
I'm his buyer. I buy the
Yeah,
animals.
you're the goat guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sold me the
I'm the
goats.
goat
He
expert.
sold me the goats.
Sharky, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, no, it's just
so
fun.
much.
I mean, I
enjoyed it.
hope you come
Thank
back. You know, there's plenty to talk about. We'll have you back after the play. So you
Yeah.
can tell us
Yeah.
about how it went.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll come
well-
up and get some footage
Got
of it.
Much
and
Ado
everything.
About Nothing, April 19th, 20, 21st, Gateway Theater, Summers Point.
Come see Jeff Sharkey.
Yeah, got a good show.
That's how we do it.
Thanks for coming out. So this has been a little bit of a chaotic episode.
Chaotic, to say the least.
But like I said, we've had a taste of all the improv players. So we got to end it with our buddy Kevin Mulderrick with a song.
Always.
What song are you going to do?
I'm going to do this little song about Haight Ashbury. I went to San Francisco looking for some hippies, couldn't find them, so I went into an anarchist bookstore, and I saw an old guy sitting there, and he smiled, and he was like, I found the last hippie in San Francisco.
There you go.
So I wrote
Take
him a
it away.
song. This is called The Old Hippie.
Take it away.
You all leave me? You can sing along with the chorus if you want to. Well, I went to Haight Ashbury to wander around, see if the old culture was still to be found. Tie-dyes and paisleys and bell-bottom jeans, day-glow paints in bright pinks and greens. Well, I searched every sidewalk, each cranny and nook. Finally gave up and went to the store to buy a book. And there's a sight to warm the soul of this 60s child. Wrinkled old dude, he just looked up and smiled. He's an old hippie, works in a bookstore. Got a sometimes girlfriend that sleeps on his floor. Long gray hair and faded old clothes, and his glasses they sit on the tip of his nose. Well, he never had a wife and he ain't got no kids. Some people say that he lives on the skids. His life is simple, he's happy and free. Read books all day about anarchy. Yeah, most days are quiet, there's not much to do. An occasional joint, or a mushroom or two. He feels for those kids that all live in the park. He don't venture there too much after dark. He's an old hippie, works in a bookstore. Got a sometimes girlfriend that sleeps on his floor. Long gray hair and faded old clothes, and his glasses they sit on the tip of his nose. Well, Janice and Jimmy, Pigpen and Jerry, they were all here, but they left in a hurry, leaving a legacy lost in translation, passed like a torch to the next generation. Well, he came to the Hague back in '69 to experience the love and expand his mind. Tune in, turn on, drop out and get blasted. It was a lot of fun while it lasted. Now he's got trouble walking, there's not much he hears. He wonders what happened to these last 50 years. The tourists regard him as an attraction to see, snapping this picture while he leans on a tree. He's an old hippie, works in a bookstore. Got a sometimes girlfriend that sleeps on his floor. Long gray hair and faded old clothes, and his glasses they sit on the tip of his nose. Yeah, his glasses they sit on the tip of his nose.
Yeah.
Thank you, the old hippie.
Now get out of here, you.
Get out of here.
So, man, that's so you're gonna sing. I used to call them. I mean, when I would train my dogs hunting,
Right.
at Dennis Creek, you know, you throw a dummy out and the dog goes gets the dummy. So where the dummy landed, there were 3 otters like 5 yards away.
No shit.
And I'm going, I wonder what my dog's gonna do.
Yeah.
What do you do? Just
Got
this
right to
Georgia?
the dummy, came right back. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah, you didn't want it to tussle
No,
with a
no,
bunch
no,
of
no.
otters.
No, otter's gonna win.
Otters beat a dog?
Yeah. 3 of them?
Oh yeah.
They gang up?
Yeah, they're like Tupac and
Especially in the water.
The G and Dom Show.